Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling something pretty significant, especially if you're a UPSC aspirant trying to, well, keep up with everything. We're looking at this recent wave of textbook revisions happening across India.
Yeah, and it's not just happening in isolation, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It seems to be coinciding with quite a bit of public anger, even vandalism directed at Mughal monuments. We're drawing heavily today from a piece in the Hindu.
Right. It's a really insightful piece. It helps connect these dots.
So our mission today really is to understand the complexities here. Go beyond just the headlines,
Definitely. We need to look at the dangers of historical revisionism, especially considering how crucial a nuanced understanding of history is for UPSC prep.
Okay, so digging deeper than the surface narrative, the Hindu piece does talk about different viewpoints, doesn't it?
It does. You've got some people arguing these changes are, well, necessary corrections, fixing historical inaccuracies, maybe.
Reclaiming a truer past, perhaps?
Sort of, yeah. But then there's the other side, a real concern about rewriting history for political reasons and the risks involved in that.
Let's pin down the current situation first. What does the Hindu actually highlight about what's happening right now?
Well, it draws attention to how these feelings are being amplified, especially online, through viral campaigns.
Right.
We're seeing calls to rename places, even destroy historical sites like tombs.
And the piece emphasizes this isn't just a few random people.
No, exactly. It suggests it reflects a broader trend, kind of reducing complex history.
Into goodies and baddies.
Pretty much. A simple hero versus villain narrative, which, as anyone studying history knows,
is rarely the full picture. Now, thinking about our listeners, the UPSC aspirants, why is resisting that simple narrative so vital for them?
because the UPSC demands more, doesn't it? It's not just about dates. It's about analysis, understanding complex forces, consequences.
Right. A black and white view just won't cut it for analyzing today's issues.
Not at all. You need that deeper, multi-layered understanding for the exam and, frankly, for being an effective civil servant.
Okay. That leads us to a fundamental question the article touches on.
Yeah.
What is history anyway? It's not just a fixed record, is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
The Hindu piece underscores that history is dynamic. Our understanding changes. New evidence comes up. We ask new questions.
Perspectives shift.
Exactly. It's always being interpreted, reevaluated.
Which is quite different from what the article calls the manipulation of history.
Yeah.
When there's an agenda involved.
That's the absolute key distinction.
Yeah.
When the aim isn't understanding the past better, but twisting it to fit today's politics, that's the problem. Like the Hindu says, history then risks becoming a tool for, sowing division.
Yeah, a source of wisdom.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this kind of politically driven revisionism, it can damage social cohesion. It can even, unfortunately, lead to violence, especially if the goal is restoring some perceived old way.
So we see the textbook changes, the actions against monuments. The Hindu helps frame this by talking about reinterpretation versus revisionism. Can you unpack that difference a bit?
Yeah, this is so important for anyone studying history seriously, especially for UPSC. Reinterpretation is, well, normal academic work.
Like finding new evidence, using new methods.
Exactly. It's about getting a clearer picture, refining understanding. It's evidence-based. Revisionism, though, as the Hindu highlights, often starts with the conclusion.
An agenda.
Right. The goal isn't necessarily historical accuracy, but reshaping the past to, say, legitimize current ideas or political aims.
So one seeks truth, the other seeks justification.
That's a good way to put it. And the Hindu really emphasizes the negative fallout. Revisionism often fuels identity politics.
Using history to draw hard lines between groups.
Yes. Creating us versus them based on historical narratives. It gets tangled up with land claims, too, using the past to argue about territory now.
And nationalism.
And strong nationalist feelings, often based on a very selective, maybe idealized version of the past. As the article notes, this can create cycles of resentment, retaliation.
Which are dynamics UPSC aspirants absolutely need to understand for contemporary issues, right? Both domestic and international.
Absolutely. This isn't just theoretical. It has real-world impacts.
To make this danger clear, the Hindu gives several historical examples. Let's walk through a few. The Crusades.
Right. The Crusades are a powerful example. Religious narratives, specific interpretations of the past were used to justify, well, centuries of conflict.
Reclaiming holy lands.
And that created this deep legacy of mistrust, antagonism between groups. The effects lasted way beyond the actual fighting.
And then the European Wars of Religion. Similar dynamic.
Very much so. The 16th, 17th centuries in Europe saw horrific wars linked to the Reformation and Counter-Reformation.
Competing religious histories.
Exactly. The desire to restore a perceived past religious order based on their interpretation led to immense suffering, economic ruin. Historical grievances were weaponized.
Moving closer to our time, the Hindu points to Nazi Germany, a really stark case.
It really is a chilling example of where distorting the past can lead. Hitler's whole ideology, as the article points out, rested on revisionism.
The stabbed-in-the-back myth after World War I.
The myth of Aryan superiority, twisting the Treaty of Versailles. It wasn't just tweaking facts, it was building a false history to justify expansion, persecution.
And ultimately genocide.
Yes.
Closer to home, the article brings up the Partition of India. How did conflicting histories play into that tragedy?
Partition is incredibly complex, painful. But the Hindu rightly notes that competing narratives were a big factor in the violence.
Different communities holding on to different versions of the past.
Yes, often irreconcilable versions, focusing on past wrongs. Instead of fostering unity, these narratives deepened the divisions, tragically undermining a peaceful transition.
The article also mentions conflicts still very much with us, Israel-Palestine and Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Very relevant for UPSC general studies.
Extremely relevant. The Israel-Palestine conflict, as the Hindu explains, is fundamentally rooted in clashing historical claims to the same land.
Each side with its own narrative of rights and victimhood.
Precisely. And it fuels this cycle of violence. Similarly, Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 was partly justified using revisionist history to talk about historical unity, territory.
So these examples show how manipulating history isn't just historical, it's a current tool for conflict.
Absolutely. It continues to justify aggression and destabilize regions today.
So given how dangerous this can be, what's the way forward? What does the Hindu suggest?
The core message is history should teach us, give us wisdom. It shouldn't be a weapon for revenge.
Acknowledge the past, but don't use it to settle scores now.
Exactly. The Hindu stresses acknowledging historical injustices. You can't ignore the tough parts, but it warns against using those grievances for retribution today. There's also a powerful point about not getting lost in a yearning for some perfect golden past that can blind us to present opportunities, present problems. Learn from it, don't get tracked by it.
That's it. The piece emphasizes dialogue, empathy, trying to understand different perspectives, and above all, a commitment to truth, to evidence.
Which seems crucial for building a better future.
Absolutely. And again, for UPSC aspirants, this connects directly to ethics, critical thinking, understanding how to build a more inclusive society.
This seems to circle back to that famous quote.
Yes, George Santayana. The Hindu reminds us, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
It adds a twist.
Right. It adds this crucial nuance. Just remembering the past to sort of relive it with arrogance or only as a victim, that's also dangerous. It stops us moving forward.
So the best way to honor history
is honest reckoning.
Right.
According to the piece, it's about grappling with the complexities, the uncomfortable bits, not rewriting it to suit today's needs.
Okay, so for our listeners, especially those deep in UPSC prep, the big takeaway here, drawing from the Hindu's analysis, is really about telling the difference
between genuine historical reinterpretation, the academic effort to understand better, and this dangerous, politically driven revisionism.
That critical thinking skill is vital, not just for the exam, but for being an informed citizen, a future administrator. You need to assess narratives, spot bias, see the layers.
It's fundamental.
A nuanced, evidence-based grasp of history isn't just academic. It's a tool for tackling today's complex problems.
Definitely reflect on these examples. The Crusades, partition, the current conflicts the Hindu mentions. Think about how different historical takes are shaping events right now.
And if this deep dive helped you connect some dots, especially for your UPSC journey, please do like and subscribe. We'll have more discussions like this.
Absolutely. And drop your thoughts or any further questions in the comments. We do read them.
We mentioned our main source was an excellent piece in the Hindu, which really helped frame this whole discussion.
Right. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Just consider how picking and choosing historical facts or leaving things out.
Selective memory.
Yeah. How that might be shaping public opinion, maybe even policy decisions right here, right now. Something to think about.